Hey guys, Professor Lee here, and today I'm going to show you HSA strategies that are going to absolutely blow your mind. And I'm going to show you why an HSA is literally my favorite retirement savings account. You might be thinking, wow, how is it, if it's a health savings account used for health expenses, how do you use it for retirement? I'm going to show you some amazing things that you can do with this HSA account. So, why is it such a powerful wealth builder? First of all, it's the best tax advantage account that there is. Many will say that it has triple tax advantage. I'm going to say it has quintuple tax advantage. Okay, there's 5 different tax advantages related to the health savings account. Because of those tax advantages, you get unbelievable returns on your investment by putting money into an HSA. And then the last thing is you have so much flexibility in taking distributions from an HSA that this is why I use it as a retirement account, and many will do that. So what is an HSA? It's a health savings account used for medical expenses. And in order to contribute to an HSA, you have to be on a high deductible health plan. So IRS says, what is a high deductible health plan? Okay, for 2024, it's where your deductible, the amount you have to pay out before insurance is going to jump in, $1,600 for self-only coverage or $3,200 for family coverage. So the deductible on these plans is higher, meaning your initial out-of-pocket is higher, but you're able to build up your account. So if you have a lot of medical expenses, chronic illness, etc., this might not be the right account for you at this time. Okay, so let's say you have a lot of medical expenses you're planning on next year. Maybe you do a lower deductible plan, get them covered with that, but then you could do high deductible the next year and have your HSA. So this is something you can change on a yearly basis. So quintuple tax advantages. What are they related to an HSA? Why is this? As a tax professor, this is why I get so excited about this account. First of all, you get a federal state tax deduction for the money you contribute to an HSA, kind of like a 401k or traditional IRA, where it either decreases your W-2 wage or you take a deduction on your return for what you put in, and I'll go through the mechanics of how that works. So that's your first tax savings. Your investments grow tax-free. So once you get money in that HSA, usually your provider makes you hold a certain amount in cash. For example, Optum Bank, I believe, has $2,000 in cash, and then once you're over that amount, you can start investing. And I highly encourage you to invest that excess to start getting returns, because any returns you're getting, dividends, interest, they're tax-free in that account. And finally, when you take the money out of your HSA, that's also tax-free as long as it's used for medical expenses. And we'll talk about other ways you can get it out for non-medical in a later point. So that's a benefit similar to a Roth IRA, right? A Roth, you don't get the deduction going in, but it grows tax-free. You get the next two. It grows tax-free, and then when you take it out, it's tax-free. So you have 2 of those 3 benefits. The 401k, you get the deduction going in, but it grows tax-deferred, and you're going to be taxed when you take it out. HSA has all 3 benefits. That's why people are so, oh, this is amazing, right? Well, let's talk about more tax benefits. The fourth is you can also save on employment taxes. That's Social Security and Medicare. That's withheld from your paycheck each pay period. If you have your employer deduct money from your salary into your HSA, then you don't have to pay Social Security and Medicare on that deduction. Okay, so that's how you get quadruple tax savings, is you're saving on employment taxes as well. And here's the one I don't know if I've seen a lot of people point out, but a lot of times with a health savings account, your employer's putting money into that account for you. They'll automatically contribute a certain amount, and the average is $760. Okay, so if your employer puts that money into your health savings account, it's like a 401k match, right? Free money from your employer that's going into an account for you. Well, the cool thing about this one, why it's even better than an employer match, is employer match, you have to pay tax on it. The health savings account contribution from your employer, you don't pay tax on. Quintuple tax benefits right there. And this is how you're going to get some massive returns, and I'm going to talk about those, okay? But first of all, let's talk about distribution flexibility. When you contribute to a Roth IRA, you can actually take out your contributions at any time. So some people use it as an emergency fund because they know, like, I have money in the Roth IRA, but any contributions, you put $10,000 in and it's grown to $15,000, you can take $10,000 out at any time without penalty. Okay, that's a benefit. That's flexibility with the Roth. Same thing goes for HSA. You can take money out as long as it's for medical at any time. Okay, what's even better about the HSA, which is even more flexible than the Roth, is you can take your earnings out at any time as well, as long as it's for medical. So that is, you get that extra benefit. 401k traditional, you have zero flexibility with these, right? There's a few exceptions like first-time home buyer, down payment, etc., where you can get some money out. But for the most part, you put money in, you're not able to access it until 59.5 with some exceptions. Okay, if you access the money, you're going to be penalized. Like I said, HSA withdrawals, the contributions and the earnings can be taken out anytime as long as it's for medical. Well, what if you're super healthy? Hopefully you're super healthy anyway, right? That's a goal we have. And you're building up this huge health savings account and you're not going to use it. What happens? Well, once you're 65, you can take out the money for any expense. But you're just going to treat it like a traditional IRA, meaning when the money comes out, you pay tax on it if it's not used for medical. So that gives you that flexibility where you're building it up and it's like, if I have a lot of medical, I can use it. If not, I'm going to treat it like a traditional IRA. And what happens is you don't even have RMDs, required minimum distributions, on a health savings account. So when you turn 73, if the account balance is large, you don't have to take it out. But whoever inherits that account, if it's your spouse, they continue using it as a medical account. That's fine. But if you have other beneficiaries, your kids, whoever else, they're going to be taxed on it in the year that's distributed. So there's some planning there. But there's so much flexibility in distributing that money. One of the things I plan on doing as I let that account get bigger is save the receipts. Okay, and I'll talk about that strategy, and I may have that next. But as you save your receipts, then let's say I have receipts of $20,000 that I'm paying out of my savings, checking account or whatever, and I'm letting my HSA grow. I can take that $20,000 at any time. Let's say I want to buy a rental property. I have $20,000 of medical receipts. I'll say, okay, I've been growing this HSA to a large sum. Now I'll take $20,000 now. Instead of, the benefit to that is you're letting that account grow to a large value, and that's when the compound interest really pays off. Once you sprint to $100,000, right? You get $100,000 in there, even if you don't contribute, that's going to grow quickly, exponentially, okay? And so that's the strategy. I'll talk about that more. And these are the two strategies. First of all, use the HSA balance for current health expenses. That's what most people do, okay? They're putting money into this HSA, and then they have a medical bill, a prescription to buy, etc. They'll just, instead of feeling that hit their bank account, they'll just say, oh, I have my HSA, I'm going to take it out of there. That feels really good, right? Because you're building up your savings and checking, and you're not as worried about it. Here's the strategy I just talked about, which is much better, that fewer people use, but is so much more beneficial, and that is let your HSA balance grow. You have to have enough emergency savings and enough money to pay for your medical expenses, but if you don't use the HSA, you can save those receipts. And as you're saving those receipts, that account will grow, and you're using that compound interest in a tax-free account to benefit yourself more later on. So the pros of building it up in using it currently, you don't feel the cost at your checking savings account. But the cons, it's harder to grow that account balance, and you don't get as many benefits for the tax-free growth, right? If you treat it as an investment account, you get it to a larger balance that's going to grow tax-free. You save your receipts, and then as that account gets bigger, you can use it for a down payment or just large distributions whenever you want. You don't have to wait till you're 59.5. The cons, you have to pay for medical expenses out of your checking and savings account, and if you don't have enough saved up, you can't do it anyway. So the key is getting enough of that emergency fund that you could cover a medical emergency, and letting this account grow like a retirement account. So, and that's, again, when not to use it is when you have high medical bills currently, right? If you're planning on having a baby, I'll have clients that, oh, we're having a baby this year, I'm going to do the low deductible plan, and then next year jump back on the HSA, okay? So these are the options you have and why the HSA is so powerful. Now I'm going to jump into an example, and I'm going to give you access to this tool. It's a projection tool where you can see how an HSA can affect your retirement. And this is valuable because a lot of people, when they need financial advising, don't pay for it because they're lower income. They're like, I'm not making enough to have a financial advisor, right? So that's why I created this. So you can do projections for yourself. Do a Roth HSA comparison, 401k match, etc., okay? So in the video at the end, you'll see I have the projection tool as well as how to use it, and you'll see how to use it now as well. So what we're going to do is go through an example. You have a single taxpayer, and you just change it to your filing status, okay? We're going to do single for this example that lives in Utah. I haven't built in all the states for the state tax savings, but as I get that, I will update it, okay? So let's say you're making $72,000, which is average for a new grad coming out of our accounting program, but it's also close to the median for the U.S. salary, okay? Making 72 single. How much tax are you going to pay? Well, you can see in this projection, and I always copy it, and for the baseline, you want to paste values so you can see that locks those cells in. You're going to be paying $16,542 in tax. You're paying a lot of tax, okay? And that's why understanding how these accounts work is so valuable. That's why tax savings knowledge can be your best return on investment, because the returns are absolutely massive. And I'm going to show you how. Even just out of school making $72,000, the percentage you can save on taxes. So that's our baseline, paying $16,500. Let's do projection 1. We're going to say we're just going to max out the HSA. And so I'm going to come down here and select HSA contributions deducted from paycheck. And I want it deducted from my paycheck so I don't have to pay Social Security and Medicare on it. If you pay it out of pocket, you can see you won't get the tax savings for Social Security and Medicare. But so we're going to say the max is $4,150, but my employer, let's say they're doing the average, they're going to put $762 into my HSA account. So I already have that. So the max I can put in between the employer and the employee contributions is $4,150 minus $762. So I can put in $3,388. That's my investment. So how much tax does that save me? Remember, it decreases my taxable income. If I look at my Form 1040, instead of $72,000, I have $72,000 minus that $3,388 as showing as total income. And with that, let's drop down. How much tax did that save me? You literally just put $3,388 into an account that you can use for medical or retirement, and the government says, look, we'll give you a $1,200 tax deduction. Okay, you saved $1,165 in tax by putting away $3,388 for yourself. Okay, these are the returns I'm talking about. So on that one strategy, this is how that works. Your difference in after-tax cash. Remember, we were at $55,000 because you were paying $16,500 in tax. You're still at $53,000 after saving $3,388 because of that tax savings. So really, the amount you invested is only $2,223. I'll walk you through it. You saved $3,388, and the government said, okay, we'll give you a decrease in your tax of $1,165. So you're looking at $2,223 is your investment. How much money do you have in your account now? $4,150 because of that match. And this is a tax-free account. So you got an 87% return on your investment in the first year. I talk to my finance students, what's a good return, market, etc. 8, 9%? How about 87%? You save $2,200 and you get another $2,000? What do you think? It's crazy, right? So if you just did this one strategy, getting 87% a year in savings, this is growing tax-free. You, in 14 years, you will have $100,000 tax-free in your account. So if you start at 22, when you're 36, you'll have $100,000 in this account. And if you're saving your receipts, maybe you've saved $20,000, you could take a distribution for a house or whatever it is at that time, tax-free distribution. If you just use that same strategy for until you were 63, you will have $1 million tax-free. Well, I hope you don't have $1 million in medical expenses, but I'd love to see you have that in your HSA, because you'll be able to take distributions for whatever you need for medical. The averages are like $300,000 to $400,000 for a lifetime of medical expenses. Some more, some less, but any more than that you can take out as a taxable distribution like a retirement account. How amazing would that be to have that flexibility? Well, I'm going to show you how important that $100,000 is. What if you stopped? Remember, my goal is sprint to $100,000. I want everyone to get to $100,000 as fast as they can, because that's when your compound growth really explodes, and you don't even have to invest once you hit it, depending on your age, right? So let's say you stopped investing when you hit 100,000. So 100,000. So let's say you said, okay, I'm actually gonna stop now, and you stop investing in that HSA. We'll just zero it out for the rest of your retirement. Look at the change. You're still gonna hit $1 million when you're 69. So it adds another 6 years to get $1 million, but because you've hit that 100,000, most of your growth is coming from money that's already there, not what you're putting in. So you're still doing just as well, and you can change your investment strategy. Let's do Roth now. You know, look at the other options that you have. Okay, so we're going to go back to that. 87% return on investment, and you're going to be a tax-free millionaire when you're 63. Let's talk about other strategies. I want to compare this. So, and whenever I do one of these projections, I want to copy and paste values to show what, compare them. So I'm going to copy this projection, just compare what my options are. And I want you to do the same thing for yourself, because everyone's different, right? Everyone's in a different situation, but your own agent, etc., etc. So copy this next one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say what a lot of financial advisors do. You got to be doing your Roth if you're in 22% single. What tax bracket are you in? You're in 22%, okay, federal, and then 5% state. Those financial advisors, a lot of them will say when you're there, you should start doing, well, up to that point you're doing Roth, and then as you get higher than that, traditional. Let's look at what you would do if you invested the same amount in Roth. And remember, in our first situation, we only had to invest $2,223 to get $4,150. So now we're changing our projection. Instead of putting it in HSA and getting that employer match, etc., we're going to just do Roth only. So I'm going to come down here in Roth IRA. I'm going to select that and say if I only do my Roth, I'm going to do 22, 23. It's an awesome account, right? I love Roth. You know that. But tax savings, did it save me any tax? I hate that. I love saving tax, okay? So no tax savings. 2,223 is invested though. So you get that much in your Roth, and it's growing tax-free. If you do that every year starting at 22, in 20 years you'll hit 100,000 instead of 14. Both tax-free, right? Can you see how I'm like HSA greater than Roth? You'll hit $1 million when you're 72 tax-free if you just did 2,000 a year. Some will do more than that, right? You're building it up faster, but with the Roth, you lose out on that return on investment. Zero. You're not getting that guaranteed tax return, okay? So that's Roth only. So let's copy that projection. Copy. And I'm going to paste it there. So copy my projection with Roth only. You still can hit $1 million tax-free, but gosh, no return on your investment except for what you've invested and whatever, right? So that's our Roth only, okay? Now I'm going to do my favorite, because I believe you need a diversification, okay? You need some taxable, you need some tax-free, you need a lot in your HSA. So here's my favorite strategy. 401k match. If you have a 401k and you're not getting the match, you need to get it. The only thing better than that 401k match, a better return, is the HSA guaranteed payment from your employer, because that one's tax-free, the match is taxable. But let's show you what the match looks like. Let's say you have a 5% guaranteed match from your employer for a 401k. Let's change our projection and say, okay, I'm going to get at least the match. Okay, so my projection, I'm going to do my salary times my match amount, 5%. So I'm going to put $3,600 into my 401k. How much tax did that save me immediately? $959, almost $1,000 in tax, plus I got $3,600 from the employer, okay? And I needed to delete that Roth IRA there, okay? So I have $7,200. So look at that return, 173% return, okay? Because I saved almost $1,000 in tax, only put $3,600 in, so my investment was $2,641, and I got $4,559 in my accounts using the strategy, 173% return, okay? 401k match. But all of this is taxable. You're not getting any tax-free. We need some HSA in there. So I'm going to say, okay, if I can save $3,600 in HSA, I'm going to do $4,150 minus whatever my employer puts in, and I need to add that again. Let's say they're putting in $762, $3,388. So that's very similar to our first projection. But look how much tax we've saved, $2,100 in 1 year. So our investment, we've only invested $4,864. That's how much our cash flow decreased. And how much did we end up with in our retirement accounts? Well, we have $7,200 in taxable accounts for the 401k and match. Now we have $4,150 in the HSA, $11,350, 133% return on your investment by funding the 401k up to the match and your HSA. Crazy. Well, look at you'll hit 100,000 in less than 7 years, and about 60-40 taxable, non-taxable. Okay, $1 million at 50, 400,000 non-taxable, 600 taxable. I'm talking early retirement here, guys. Okay, And then when you're 67, you're at 3.5 million. And only investing under $5,000 a year, it's just crazy. People will spend that on a car. They'll spend it on cars their whole career, and then it's gone. Okay, so let's do one more thing. The last thing, this will decrease our return on investment, but it's going to get us more tax-free money, is what I want to do is say, look, if I could save $6,988, about $7,000 in 1 year, how can I do that? Instead of saving $4,800, I'm going to take my tax savings, $2,124, and I'm going to fund my Roth with that amount, just to get more tax-free money there. So during the year, my cash flow is only decreased by $7,000, but look how much I ended up with in my accounts. Almost $14,000, almost 100% return on all 3 strategies that I just applied. Okay, so rather than having $69.88 that I might have put in a Roth, like if you put $7,000 in a Roth versus this strategy, you end up with, you lose out on that 93% return. These crazy returns that people miss when they're not doing this. Well, look at how fast will you hit 100,000 in less than 6 years. You will have $100,000 saved up, and it's almost 50-50, tax-free and taxable. You'll have $1 million when you're 48, almost 50-50. When you're 67, you'll have 4.2 million, and it's pretty close to 50-50, taxable, tax-free. How much did you save a year? $7,000 a year. Okay, so that is my favorite strategy, because I get that tax savings. I want that 100% return, right? And then even if at 67, if I have 2.2 million, I have 30 years to take that out, right? Before I die. Required minimum distributions don't kick in until 73, and you're still taking it over 27 years. So if I even divide it by 27 and don't start taking it until then, that's $84,000 a year. You're going to be in the 22% because of inflation and so forth. Add Social Security to that, etc. It's not a bad thing to use. Then you're using those lower tax brackets. If you do all Roth and you have no taxable, or you can't do Roth conversions, etc., you're losing out on planning opportunities. Or when you have 4.3 million, gosh, I could take 100,000 every year and give it to charity and live on my 1.9 tax-free. You know, there's so many planning opportunities for it. That's why I've done this for you. You download this and use it yourself. Look at the video here in the end screen where it shows you how to use this tool. Do some projections for yourself, and hopefully you'll be millionaires, both tax-free and potentially taxable. I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please consider sharing it with someone who might need this. Okay, everyone needs it, so hopefully you share it. Like it so I can get the YouTube algorithm. It really helps me out. And then go ahead and subscribe if you could, and every week I'll keep putting out videos just like this one. Okay, have a good one.